Hey everyone, welcome to the Adrian Tan Show. This is my podcast where I have deep conversations with the people who are enabling organizations to become ready for the future of work. My guests include a mindfulness coach, the folks behind Singapore's most popular investment app, and many more. They all have one thing in common, and that is to help level up your organizations through your people. My guest today is the CEO and co-founder of Astronaut. Astronaut is a web and mobile video interview platform that supports asynchronous communications, making recruitment fast and fun for employers of all sizes. They also work with RPOs, universities, and assessment centers to virtualize and automate their interviews, pre-employment assessments, cost emissions, field research, online learning, and many key processes. Some of their users include Sampona, Conferry, NUS, IMDA, Gojek, Google, Dentinic, and many more. Previously in large-scale real estate and infrastructure project management, he was lured to Singapore and early-stage B2B software ventures in 2010. With strong experience in recruitment agency, remote team building that led to the creation of Astronaut that is based in Jakarta. Please welcome Nigel Hembrow. Nigel, thank you so much for coming onto the show.
You're very welcome, Adrian. Thanks for having me.
And where is this podcast finding you?
I am on the Gold Coast, Australia. As you might know, I am based in Jakarta, but Fitri and Leo and I have been here since March, and we look forward to getting back to Jakarta very soon.
That's good to know. So for people who are not familiar with Astronaut, how would you describe to them and what problem are you trying to solve?
Yeah, so we love running this business. You know, it started off back in 2016 as a business focused on asynchronous video and how that was going to change not just sort of recruitment and HR processes, but business processes overall. We didn't know at the start, exactly what it would be. We just knew that asynchronous video was going to be really transformative, and it's turned out to be that way. The platform, through the first 4 years, which is essentially what is the core product now, is an asynchronous video screening platform. There are a number of players in that space globally. Clients use it largely at the top of the funnel in the recruitment process for high volume roles. Candidates are invited to answer questions in either a mobile interface or a web interface. The software records their answers, and then those answers are viewable to recruiters. Over the time, we've evolved it based on some great feedback, requests, and partnerships to be a more multimedia format screening platform. So we do have the asynchronous video at our core, but we also have multiple choice questions, and we also have free text or essay questions, and all of that is available as a software as a service, or actually also now available as an API, so it can be embedded in other platforms. Yeah.
For people who may not be familiar with this technical term, what is asynchronous communication and what are the alternatives?
Yeah, it's really important to understand. I think for everyone in the world of work, what is synchronous and what is asynchronous. And I think a really good way to start that discussion is to make it real for people. Is do they like receiving phone calls now? Because a phone call is an example of a synchronous communication. It interrupts you because you have to focus. It demands your attention, and examples of synchronous communication are phone calls, meetings, which are either face to face or live Zoom calls, and examples of asynchronous: letters, emails, Slack chat, WhatsApp, and also asynchronous video. And what makes it asynchronous is that the person that is providing the communication in one direction is creating it and sending it, and the person on the receiving side, they can choose when they want to digest it, so it fits into their schedule very, very well, and they don't get interrupted. So if you look at the different technologies which have affected us in the workplace now, Slack as an example, all the different chat platforms, they are asynchronous, and they're really loved because people can focus on their work, and then they can check their messages when they get a free moment. Yeah, I hope that is not too long and not too short an answer. Yeah.
That definitely helped to describe it.
Mm.
And given the business that you're in, and given that we're in COVID period right now, I believe it has changed your business somewhat. Has it accelerated your growth in any way?
Yeah, it's accelerated our business in many ways. I mean, the broad for anyone working in HR tech, they know, the impact, and that is that businesses need technology now. There's a lot of their day to day work that has to be done digitally because people aren't in the same room, right? And that affects everything. So that's the sort of short term demand, i.e. I have a burning problem, I need to solve it. And live video, I think, has probably been the biggest beneficiary of that. As people have done a lot of live video, they've then realized it's actually really annoying to do a lot of live video, and it's really annoying to their schedule. So they then move to optimize and move to asynchronous options where it makes sense. So that's a short term benefit. Of course, the long term benefit is people now, for better or for worse, in terms of their attitudes toward technology, they know it's necessary now in a lot of their work, and they're comfortable with it because they were forced to try it and use it. And so we've seen organizations change in their attitude towards wanting to have a clear digital transformation plan. And so yeah, it's been good for us both locally in our sort of main markets in Southeast Asia, but also globally as well. Yeah.
You mentioned about the main markets in Southeast Asia. Which countries would you be referring to?
Yeah, so we're based in Indonesia, so that's our main focus market. But we serve, clients in Singapore, some government clients there, some universities. So Singapore, Indonesia, Australia, Vietnam, Malaysia, New Zealand, markets where we have substantial users, but we do have users in other countries as well. We focus and serve very well customers, in our time zones, but we do have a few global clients as well, and we're very thankful for their trust and support in us.
So your product is actually quite location agnostic, given that it is a software as a service. And
Yeah,
I just want to jump into your opinion of the different countries that you have been dealing with, the 5 to 6 of them, and in fact many more.
yep.
Are you seeing the same rate of digital adoption across all of them?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that is the case. I think because of COVID-19, it was a bit of an equalizer. And because there are global platforms that everyone uses in their personal life, such as WhatsApp and others, that has created a global sort of benchmark for what is an acceptable software experience. And therefore, people in their work lives also have a more equalized expectation around the world. Of course, budgets are different in different parts of the world. The buying decisions are different in different parts of the world, but the appreciation for how software should be used and why is actually not that different. Some of the things that drive those smaller differences, though, the economics of optimization of work hours, so the ROI of an investment in a HR tech product will be different from different markets. But generally, the ability for people to pick up a new product and use it, of course, if it's well designed, which we've had great feedback, and people enjoy using Astronaut. I think there really isn't much difference at all. And if there were, it would just be around the procurement process. There are still some markets that require us to send a paper invoice, for example.
Compared to the other players that are also trying to tackle this challenge, what would you perceive to be your unfair advantage?
Yeah, so we're built for Southeast Asia. We're built primarily in Indonesia, which means that the internet conditions in our world are very mobile focused. And also there's a very distributed population outside of the city centres, where internet is not as smooth and reliable as it is in the city centres. And we're also talking about emerging market conditions. So we're built for those markets. I think also because we have been experimenting a lot in additional use cases. We also know the limits of our system, and we also know very much how things are going to pan out over the next 6 to 12 months to 24 months. So, we're very well set up for how things are evolving. And I guess the third thing would be we love customizations. I know any company can say that, but we are seriously committed to customizations and partnerships. As I mentioned, our technology is available to be integrated, and that does require a bit of work. So we have a very strong team behind us that allows us to adapt fast and be quite agile for unique circumstances that may arise. And because of the turbulence that COVID-19 has thrust upon the different worlds of job and education space, having that agile way of reaching out to the market has served us well. Yep.
And what are the platforms that you have integrated with?
Yeah, so we have two partners, two great partners in Southeast Asia that I just want to highlight that use our API. We have more than these two, of course, but the work that we do with Pulsify and the partnership work that we do with Talentcraft and also Impress is very important to us. When I say API, essentially our platform as a service is able to be integrated into any recruitment platform, HR platform, so that they have an asynchronous video feature native to their platform. And so that's a different kind of integration, a much deeper integration, an integration that gives a much smoother recruiter and candidate experience than more traditional integrations, which are really just about two pieces of software that connect. Embedding us into other platforms is what we really love to do to power other platforms who are seeking an asynchronous video feature. There are some ATSs which we integrate with, and we will be integrating with a lot more. For example, we integrate with Workable, we integrate with Urban Hire, and due to the lower penetration of ATSs into Indonesia, we have done less integrations into the more global ATS players. But that's a big focus for us, throughout the end of the year.
You have actually been around quite a few countries in
Mhm.
Asia. What got you to pick Indonesia or Jakarta as your base?
Family. That's it. I fell in love with Fitri, Indonesian, and when we were living in Singapore. She was there for work, completing her PhD, and so actually, Astronaut was started while we were still living in Singapore. But we newly married, had a baby on the way, and wanted to move closer to her parents, or dekat mertua, and so that's how we ended up in Jakarta. I had, however, though, started building the team in Indonesia, even though I was originally based in Singapore. So, that's the main reason. The secondary reason is it's an exciting market that any digital entrepreneur, that has a bit of experience. I have a bit of experience under my belt, and that quickly made me realize that Indonesia is a pretty fantastic place to be doing business in the digital space. So it's kept me and the team very, very satisfied, very rewarded, and it's still got a long way to grow.
In terms of your customer segment, are there any specific sectors that you believe would benefit more from your solution?
Yeah, well, the quick answer is anytime you are doing an interview or you're looking at a CV and you want to be a bit more efficient and accurate, you can use Astronaut. Of course, our ability to build a very strong business means that if we're looking at revenue sort of maximization and value maximization, then the large organizations that do receive a lot of applicants, where the most value add for us is. So high volume cases, graduate recruitment, obviously, FMCG brands, banking, finance, those spaces, those industries are where we add the most value. The kind of industries where they're getting a lot of applicants now and CVs just don't cut it. CVs obviously are unverified data. At its best, they're quite weak predictors of performance, and at worst, obviously complete fabrications. So introducing quick, fast ways to get to know candidates and introduce snippets of automation is very necessary for organizations that are getting a lot of candidates. So yeah, to answer your question in a nutshell, really medium to high volume recruitment. And of course, unfortunately, because of the increased unemployment, the ratio of applicants per role is increasing. So we are finding that our core segments are very much understanding why Astronaut is a necessary piece of software in their toolkit. Yep.
Because I'm quite curious about how Indonesia work, and
Mhm.
I like to just understand from you, how would you see the difference between the way Singapore and Indonesia adopt the digital solution, especially when it comes to asynchronous communication? Would the size of a country matters in this case?
Well, not really at all, actually. The size of the country, is really for us more of an indication of the size of the number of applicants and also the size of the business opportunity. In terms of whether or not asynchronous video is the right thing to use or not. Businesses need to understand candidates in every part of the world. Singapore and Indonesia are the same. Indonesia being you could argue, that in pre-COVID days when people were able to travel for interviews, because Singapore is quite small. And when you're talking about domestic recruitment in Singapore, of course, that's something that needs asynchronous communication a little bit less pre-COVID. But when you've got distributed people across different offices, then asynchronous video and online assessment, which is the category that we're in, asynchronous video and online assessment, is necessary. There's not really we don't see much of a difference, particularly because Singapore does a lot of international recruitment as well.
Are there any interesting edge use cases of your product since you started beyond just recruitment?
Yeah, there is. We're a people screening platform, and so there's a lot of people screening needs, particularly now that people are doing less face to face and in person. Manfred and I, when we started the business back in 2016, we're both very product focused, founders. We love to experiment, and so there are a number of use cases that we have chosen not to pursue at this stage, but we have validated, for example, that qualitative and to a degree quantitative market research is an industry that is quite interesting to us, and there were opportunities that came to us in that space that we put them on hold. Also, the world of investment, angel investing, and also early stage seed investing. So screening founders is a use case that we actually monetized. We did have a couple of initial customers in that space, but focusing on our core markets is most important for us. We are already serving universities, and so that's not really an edge case. It's a main second market for us. So student admissions is a key focus for us now. And we do have a couple of universities in Singapore already using our platform as part of their student admissions and marketing. No one's used Astronaut for dating yet, but asynchronous video is starting to be used in other parts of the world for that. Another is medtech. You might find that asynchronous video is used often in the world of medtech, and it is of interest to us. But of course, anyone running a business needs to focus. So our core focus markets are employers and their agents, and as a second market, universities and educators. Yep.
For asynchronous communication, because although COVID has accelerated the way people transform digitally, but it has also impeded a lot of hiring plans for companies. So
Yep.
I guess as much as these are all new shiny objects, but they might be something to worth looking into as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. As I said, focus is the only thing holding that back, and we are. For anyone listening, in those spaces, we are very open to partnering in those spaces. It's just a matter of resources and time and focus, and we can solve those things.
So for people listening out there, if you want to try Astronaut for dating, just hit up Nigel. I'll share his contact in the
Yeah.
show notes.
Yep. Exactly.
So back to our conversation. What has been the key turning point or crucibles in your journey to hit you that you're on the right track?
Well, customers liking the product, trying it, buying it again, using it, giving us feedback around how they want us to make it better. These are all the really important factors in a successful product company. I don't want to go into the whole history over the last 5 years of all the little steps along the way, but a combination of all those things gets us to where we are today. And any business that's not getting product feedback, any business that's not getting repeat usage, then there's something wrong. And so we have a laser focus on continual product improvement, continual value creation, and being able to secure, just quick examples, being able to secure a global deal is obviously a very proud moment for us. Being able to screen over 5,000 candidates in one day, when we achieved that last year, was a big milestone for us. And also releasing new products into new segments. The first time you release a product into a new segment, and that first user satisfaction and feedback, that's also a big milestone. And we are launching online learning functionality in Q4, and early indications are that are looking very promising for that.
You must have spoken with quite a number of companies recently to support them in their digital adoption. Given so many interaction that you have, what are some common themes you're seeing, especially the common mistakes that you believe companies are making right now?
Yeah, I think that probably the most important is, if you're going to adopt a new technology, you first need to know why. We are just a tool to solve a problem. And if you don't know what your problem is, then it's going to be very hard to get value out of the solution you buy. And we're not interested in working in projects where there's not a clear understanding of why we're there, because it's going to fizzle out, or it's not going to add the kind of value that it could. So we always try and help a client. There's a lot of clients that do that very well, and so we don't need to sort of raise that, but we do flag it if there's not a clear sponsor, for example, and not a clear objective from the initial pilot. A lot of our users start small with us. They start small, they use it, then they scale up, and that brings familiarity to the product. So any cases where there's no sponsor or a clear objective as to why we're being used, then there's some red flags there that we try and fix.
So what's next for Astronaut?
Yeah, thanks for asking. It's really exciting. We're launching, as I hinted earlier, we're launching an online learning tool. That is being done in conjunction with a large conglomerate in Indonesia for delivering online learning, asynchronous online learning and certification. So that will be going live next month. And in addition to that, because of our work with universities, we are launching products next quarter, focused on job seekers. Our job at our core over the last 4 years has been and actually will continue to be helping employers and their agents recruit cleanly and efficiently. And to do that even better, by serving job seekers, we can make sure job seekers are prepared, that they have the right tools to go about their job search, and it's very exciting. So watch out for Astronaut online learning functionality later this year, and also job seeker tools as well, as we broaden our focus on both employers and universities.
Is Astronaut currently hiring?
We're always hiring, Adrian, and so yes, we are always hiring. The people we like. So there's two broad parts of our hiring exercise. One is anyone is welcome to apply at any point in time if they're interested in digital products. We're a growing organization, so even if we don't have an advertised role for the right people, we can find a place for them. Of course, we do have defined advertised roles as well, and we are hiring for our growth and sales team at the moment. There will be some roles that you'll see advertised there for digital marketing, for customer success, and then on the engineering side, we will be recruiting a few more full stack engineers. I think at least one mobile engineer, and a few other people as well. But I won't go into the details of all our recruitment at the moment. Feel free to reach out. But yes, recruitment is a key part of what we do, and we like to stay efficient. So we generally don't hire new grads. We like to hire people with at least a few years' experience.
And for people who is interested to learn more about Astronaut, where can they go to?
astrnt.co is our homepage, or you can search for me, Nigel Hembrow, on LinkedIn. They're probably the two most obvious places to get information about us. And yeah, we welcome people to go there and message us, and we can point you into the right direction.
This links together with the show notes, together with the career page, will be added to the show notes. And thank you, Nigel. Thank you so much for coming on to the show today. I have a lovely time speaking with you. I hope you enjoy your time as well.
I did. Thanks, Adrian, and thanks for doing what you do for the community.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. You can refer to the show notes for links to more information about our guests and their businesses. If you enjoy this podcast, it will be helpful to give a review on iTunes or follow me on Spotify. If you're using Overcast, please hit the star button under the episode. That will help get this podcast and the episodes out to more people who may find it useful. I will see you in the next episode of The Adrian Tan Show.